Picture this. It is the year 1533, and you are standing in the cool shadows of Greenwich Palace. The halls echo with the soft clatter of servants' footsteps, the faint scent of rosewater lingering in the tapestries. Outside, the Thames glints under the winter sun, yet within, whispers of scandal circulate through the corridors of power. You feel the tension pressing on your chest, almost tangible, as though every stone in this palace holds a secret that must never escape these walls. Imagine knowing that one misplaced glance, one stolen moment of affection, could alter the course of a nation. This is the world of Europe's queens, where love and duty clash, and forbidden passions simmer beneath the veneer of royal decorum. Before we begin, welcome to Whispers of History. Tell me, where are you listening from? Is it morning or night where you are? As you settle into your place, perhaps under the soft glow of a bedside lamp, let us guide you through tales of queens who dared to love in ways that defied their crowns. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe and softly press that bell, so the whispers of history never leave your side. Across Europe, from the sun-drenched courts of France to the misty halls of England, queens carried secrets in their hearts heavier than their jeweled crowns. Catherine de Medici, a young bride thrust into the French court at only 14, understood this better than most. Married to Henry II, her days were consumed by political maneuvering, yet her nights were haunted by longing. She was aware that in a palace where alliances were forged through blood and marriage, her heart could not speak freely. Still, within the labyrinth of Versailles, she discovered that the trappings of power could not quell the stirrings of desire. Imagine yourself as Catherine, walking through candlelit corridors, silk skirts whispering against marble floors. You hear the laughter of courtiers mingling with the soft clinking of glasses in the royal banquet hall. And yet your mind drifts to him, the man whose eyes promised warmth in a world so cold and calculated. Historical records hint at her intense attachments, though the details remain veiled, leaving us to wonder, could a queen truly find solace in a love that dared not declare itself? This tension, the collision of public duty and private yearning, forms the heartbeat of our tale. Meanwhile, in the north, Anne Boleyn's story unfolds with even more peril. You can almost feel the chill of 1533 England, the fog creeping along the River Thames, as Anne navigates the dangerous waters of Henry VIII's court. As the second wife of the king, her very existence was political, yet her intelligence and charm captivated Henry beyond reason. Imagine her, standing in the Great Hall of Greenwich, heart racing as she meets Henry's gaze. Every word, every gesture is scrutinized, yet in those moments alone, she experiences a forbidden intimacy with the man who would crown her queen. Anne's life would become a precarious dance between passion and survival, each step carrying the weight of an entire nation. In France, another story quietly unfolds. Diane de Poitiers, far older than her lover Henry II, exerts a subtle yet formidable influence over the king. You can almost hear the rustle of her emerald gowns and feel the scent of jasmine she favors. Their relationship was scandalous, whispered about even in the gilded galleries of the Louvre. Yet, Diane's power was undeniable. She understood the intricate politics of court and used her position to safeguard her status, while indulging in a love that the world deemed improper. History remembers her as a mistress, yet behind every smile lies strategy, a careful negotiation of passion and survival. And then there is Mary, Queen of Scots, whose youthful longing and tragic fate make her one of Europe's most compelling figures. Picture 1565. Holyrood Palace, Edinburgh. The air is sharp with the scent of peat fires, and the distant sound of bagpipes drifting through the castle windows. Mary's heart beats faster as she exchanges glances with Lord Darnley, a man chosen for her by political necessity, yet stirring a tempest in her heart. The marriage that was meant to secure alliances becomes a theatre of desire and danger. Each kiss is weighted with treachery. Each embrace could ignite scandal. The complexity of love in such circumstances is staggering, power and desire intertwined, leaving little room for innocence. Queens like Elizabeth of Austria and Catherine Howard also wove secret webs of affection and intrigue. In the opulent courts of the Habsburg dynasty, Elizabeth's letters reveal an emotional life hidden beneath layers of protocol. The fragrance of her garden, the delicate silk of her gowns, the intimate confessions she penned, these are fragments that historians painstakingly reconstruct, offering glimpses of passion that defied the rigid rules of monarchy. Catherine Howard's brief, ill-fated marriage to Henry VIII reads almost like a cautionary tale. The thrill of forbidden romance, the intoxicating proximity of a king, and the tragic consequences that inevitably follow when desire outpaces prudence. As you drift deeper into these stories, imagine the tapestry of Europe's courts, the grand halls echoing with music, the rustle of luxurious fabrics, the clink of goblets during banquets, and the soft whispers behind closed doors. Each queen navigates the delicate line between personal longing and public expectation. Every secret rendezvous, every clandestine letter, is a risk that could unravel not just a marriage, but an entire dynasty. You feel the weight of their decisions, the hidden hearts beating beneath coronets and crowns, and the tension between what history records and what remains unspoken. And yet, beyond the scandals and political maneuverings, there is a fundamental humanity that draws us closer to these women. They were queens, yes, but also daughters, wives, and mothers. Their passions and fears mirror our own, albeit amplified by the grandeur and peril of monarchy. As night falls over the courts of Europe, as the chandeliers flicker and servants retreat to their quarters, imagine these queens alone contemplating the lovers they cannot openly embrace, the desires they must suppress, and the loneliness that accompanies even the highest station. In this first glimpse into the forbidden love affairs of Europe's queens, you begin to understand the delicate balance they maintained, duty intertwined with desire, politics shadowed by passion, and public life constrained by the private heart. Each queen we encounter is a study in contrasts, a brilliant mind navigating a treacherous court, a tender heart concealed beneath armor of protocol, a sovereign whose greatest battles are often fought in the quiet moments of longing. The stage is set, the whispers begin, and you, dear listener, are now part of this intimate journey through love, scandal, and power. Imagine yourself now in the candlelit chambers of Fontainebleau Palace. 1559. The air is thick with incense and the subtle perfume of orange blossoms. Yet an undercurrent of tension ripples through the gilded halls. Catherine de Medici, now the Queen Mother of France, walks with measured grace, her eyes sharp beneath her carefully arranged coiffure. Political power has always been her currency, but now she wields it with a far more personal edge. She has learned that love, when forbidden, can be both weapon and vulnerability. History whispers that she nurtured deep attachments, not just for companionship, but for influence. Behind every calculated smile is the shadow of desire, a reminder that even the most formidable queens are human. Across the Channel, Elizabeth I of England contemplates her own entangled heart. 1561, the palace corridors of Whitehall stretch endlessly before you, echoing with the murmurs of courtiers. Elizabeth's sharp intellect and commanding presence keep her at the center of courtly intrigue. Yet she is not immune to the magnetic pull of affection. Robert Dudley, the Earl of Leicester, stirs her emotions in ways that diplomacy cannot govern. Imagine Elizabeth, alone in her private chambers, the flicker of candlelight casting shadows on her alabaster skin, contemplating letters she dare not send and meetings that must remain unspoken. The queen who would one day be called the Virgin Queen harbors private passions, the details of which remain a tantalizing enigma for historians. Meanwhile, in the sunlit gardens of Versailles, Diane de Poitiers strolls beneath arched trellises, her fingers brushing the velvet petals of roses. The king, Henry II, is both enthralled and dependent, their forbidden love thriving in the careful choreography of courtly discretion. Every glance, every gesture is laden with meaning. Courtiers whisper of her influence, yet few know the depth of intimacy she commands. Diane's story reminds us that forbidden love often carries power, and power often carries risk. To imagine the vulnerability beneath her elegance is to see a queen who wields desire as skillfully as she wields diplomacy. In Scotland, Mary, Queen of Scots, moves through the dimly lit halls of Holyrood, her heart caught between obligation and yearning. Lord Darnley's presence is both comforting and dangerous, a reminder that love and betrayal are often intertwined. Their union, intended to solidify dynastic claims, becomes a theatre of jealousy, political manipulation, and whispered accusations. You can almost hear the soft rustle of Mary's gowns as she paces her private quarters, pondering whether her affection is a trap or salvation. Every stolen glance, every secret conversation could be recorded in the memory of the palace walls, ready to haunt her future. The Germanic courts offer their own shadows of forbidden affection. Anna of Saxony, the ambitious wife of William the Silent, navigates a world of arranged marriages and political alliances. Her passionate correspondence with lovers reveals a longing for connection, for intimacy that the strictures of nobility deny her. You can almost feel the ink beneath her fingers, the hurried script of letters hidden beneath pillows and in secret drawers. Her love is a silent rebellion against the rigid expectations of her station, a defiance that carries the risk of ruin and heartbreak. Even beyond the courts of monarchs, whispers of clandestine liaisons echo in quieter palaces and city manors. Henrietta Maria of France, Queen of England by marriage to Charles I, cultivates private relationships in the midst of public upheaval. The court, rife with political intrigue and religious tension, becomes a stage upon which her passions are both performed and concealed. You can imagine her walking through the echoing corridors of St. James's Palace, the soft rustle of her silk skirts masking hurried conversations, the brush of hands beneath tablecloths, the fleeting intensity of glances that betray forbidden desire. These moments, invisible to history's grand narratives, reveal the human heart behind the crown. Consider Anne of Austria, the queen consort of France in the 17th century. In the ornate rooms of the Louvre, she maneuvers through political negotiations with the same meticulous attention she pays to her private affairs. Her correspondence and diaries hint at relationships both tender and complicated, alliances both romantic and strategic. You feel the tension in the room as she reads a letter in secret, her mind balancing the demands of monarchy against the whispers of her heart. In such moments, history's grand events are inseparable from private longing, showing us that the lives of queens are never simple, even when clothed in luxury and ceremony. In the courts of Spain, Margaret of Austria, Queen of Spain and Regent of the Netherlands, quietly navigates the intersections of diplomacy, duty, and desire. You can almost hear the faint strains of harpsichord music drifting from palace chambers, mingling with the hushed footsteps of attendants. Her marriage, political in arrangement, leaves room for emotional intrigue, subtle alliances forged in whispered conversations. The delicacy of her position underscores a truth that resonates across centuries. For queens, love is never merely a private affair. It is entwined with strategy, reputation, and survival. As night falls across Europe, imagine the quiet solitude of these royal chambers. Candlelight flickers, casting long shadows, while the queens of Europe contemplate their hearts and futures. Desire is a dangerous companion, yet it persists, relentless and intoxicating. Each stolen moment, each secret correspondence, each glance shared in the halls of power carries consequences that ripple across nations. These women navigate a labyrinth where emotion and ambition intersect, where intimacy must be hidden behind protocol, and where love itself can become a weapon, a shield, or a curse. And so, as you lie back, perhaps beneath a soft blanket or in the quiet hush of your room, consider the courage it takes to love while bearing the weight of crowns. The stories of Catherine de Medici, Elizabeth I, Diane de Poitiers, Mary Queen of Scots, and the many others who dared to follow their hearts reveal the enduring human drama that lies behind the gilded doors of Europe's palaces. The forbidden love affairs of queens are not merely tales of scandal, they are vivid reminders of the tension between desire and duty, passion and prudence, intimacy and isolation. Picture this, it is 1587. The damp stone walls of Fothering Castle closing in around Mary, Queen of Scots. You can almost feel the chill in the air, the rough texture of the tapestries, and the faint metallic scent of fear lingering in the corridors. Mary's life has become a labyrinth of political intrigue and forbidden desire, a deadly dance in which her heart and her crown are inseparable yet perilously exposed. Her love for Lord Darnley and the tangled web that followed has cast a shadow over Scotland and England alike. Imagine the tension as she navigates her private chambers, aware that every whispered secret could be her undoing. Every longing glance, every tender moment becomes a dangerous currency in the treacherous world of monarchy. Meanwhile, in France, Catherine de Medici faces the aftermath of the St. Bartholomew's Day massacre, a violent reminder that political ambition and forbidden passions are tightly bound. You can almost hear the cries of the city streets, smell the smoke rising from burning homes, and feel the weight of a mother's anguish as Catherine contemplates the consequences of power exercised through both fear and desire. Her earlier attachments, personal and political, have shaped the fates of kings and courtiers alike. History leaves traces of her private alliances and affections, whispering that her understanding of love was inseparable from her mastery of strategy and survival. Across the English Channel, Elizabeth I wrestles with her feelings for Robert Dudley. It is 1578, and the flicker of candlelight in her private chambers casts long shadows on the intricate tapestries depicting past monarchs. Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, understands the delicate balance she must maintain. Every glance exchanged, every note received or returned, carries the weight of expectation and rumor. Imagine her tracing the delicate pattern of a letter with her fingers, each curve and flourish a reminder of intimacy that the world must never know. Her affection is a quiet rebellion, a private indulgence that sustains her amidst the relentless scrutiny of court and country. In the lush gardens of the Louvre, Diane de Poitiers continues to hold sway over Henry II. You can almost hear the soft rustle of her emerald gowns against the marble floors, the distant echo of lute music drifting from the ballroom. Diane's position as the king's confidant and lover allows her subtle power, yet she knows the fragility of her station. Imagine the careful choreography of gestures and glances, the clandestine meetings behind closed doors, each laden with meaning and danger. Her love is both a shield and a weapon, entwined with the politics of a court where loyalty and desire are often indistinguishable. Mary of Modena, Queen of England and wife to James II, experiences a different kind of forbidden tension in the late 17th century. The opulence of the Stuart court, with its glittering chandeliers and fragrant gardens, cannot mask the undercurrents of political and religious strife. Mary's personal attachments, discreetly nurtured, offer comfort and counsel in a world that demands constant vigilance. Imagine her walking through the corridors of Whitehall, the soft click of her heels echoing against the marble, contemplating a love that must remain hidden from prying eyes. Her restraint, like that of so many queens before her, underscores the enduring conflict between personal desire and public expectation. Even in the Spanish courts, Margaret of Austria must navigate the intricate lattice of duty and passion. The soft hum of harpsichords and the rustle of silk gowns in the Alcazar of Madrid concealed the careful management of emotions and alliances. Margaret's private correspondence hints at attachments that were never meant for public eyes, connections that brought solace yet carried danger. Imagine her seated in a shadowed corner of the palace library, candlelight dancing across vellum letters, each word a subtle declaration of longing restrained by protocol. Her story, like so many others, illuminates the quiet, persistent human heart behind the grandeur of monarchy. In the tapestry of European courts, Every forbidden affair carries consequences, shaping destinies in ways both subtle and catastrophic. Anne Boleyn's entanglement with Henry VIII, Catherine Howard's ill-fated passion, and Mary, Queen of Scots' perilous liaisons, all culminate in moments of irreversible change. Imagine the tremor of history as decisions made in private chambers ripple outward, influencing wars, alliances, and the very succession of thrones. The intimacy of these relationships, though hidden, leaves an indelible mark on nations and generations. Consider the queenly intrigues of the Bourbon dynasty. Henrietta Maria of France navigates the political turmoil of the English Civil War while maintaining attachments that, though discreet, influence the court's power dynamics. Imagine her sitting in a candlelit salon, letters in hand, heart racing as she contemplates alliances both romantic and strategic. Each whispered conversation, each clandestine meeting, reinforces the delicate web of duty, desire, and survival that defines the life of a queen. As night deepens across Europe, the private chambers of queens are filled with longing, strategy, and the quiet tremors of fear and hope. Desire is rarely innocent. It is intertwined with survival, with ambition, and with the delicate dance of political maneuvering. Each stolen glance, each letter hidden beneath a pillow, each secret rendezvous carries consequences far beyond the immediate moment. For these queens, love is never merely a personal indulgence, it is a powerful force that shapes history itself. As you listen and imagine the flicker of candlelight on silk gowns, the subtle scent of perfumes and oils, and the quiet echo of footsteps in echoing halls, you realize that the forbidden love affairs of Europe's queens are more than tales of passion. They are chronicles of resilience, strategy, and the unyielding humanity of women who navigated desire and duty under the weight of crowns. Each secret, each attachment, each moment of intimacy contributes to the rich tapestry of European history, revealing the heartbeats that history often conceals. Picture this. It is the winter of 1610 in the grand yet shadowed halls of the Louvre. The air carries the faint scent of burning wood and aged parchment, mingling with the delicate fragrance of roses from the palace gardens. You feel the chill against your skin, the smoothness of marble beneath your fingers, as you walk quietly through corridors that have witnessed whispered secrets for centuries. Here, the stories of Europe's queens reach their fateful conclusions, tales of passion, intrigue, and the irrevocable consequences of forbidden love. Catherine de Medici's later years are marked by both triumph and tragedy. Having navigated decades of political storms, she is now a queen mother whose influence continues to shape the destiny of France. Yet even her formidable intelligence could not shield her from the human costs of passion and intrigue. The echoes of her earlier attachments, both romantic and political, reverberate through the courts. Imagine her seated by a fire, the golden light dancing across her features, contemplating choices that altered the lives of her children, her lovers, and the kingdom itself. Her story is a testament to the delicate interplay between desire and duty, between the private heart and the public crown. In England, Elizabeth I ages with the weight of unfulfilled personal longing. The Virgin Queen, whose intelligence and resolve secured the realm, remains haunted by the quiet ache of what could have been. Robert Dudley, her lifelong attachment, becomes a symbol of love restrained by the demands of monarchy. Imagine Elizabeth in the silent hours of the night, the flicker of a candle casting a soft glow on her contemplative expression, pondering the choices that history will remember differently than she herself lived them. Her story reflects the paradox of power: to command a nation yet sacrifice the intimate joys of the heart. Mary, Queen of Scots, meets a far grimmer fate, her forbidden loves entwined with betrayal and execution. The cold stone of Fothering Castle presses around her as she walks toward the scaffold, her heart heavy with the weight of desire, hope, and despair. You can almost feel the finality of her footsteps, hear the distant echoes of her courtiers, and sense the invisible strings of power that have guided her life to this tragic end. Mary's story serves as a stark reminder that the intersection of love and politics in a queen's life could be fatal, and that passion, however pure, often exacts the ultimate price. Across France, Diane de Poitiers influenced wanes with the death of Henry II, yet her legacy endures. You can imagine her walking through the grand halls of Chateau de Chenonceau, the soft rustle of her gowns echoing the air fragrant with the gardens she adored. Her love, though scandalous, was inseparable from her political savvy. Diane demonstrates that forbidden relationships could both elevate and imperil, that desire and diplomacy were often two sides of the same coin. She leaves a story of elegance, intelligence, and the quiet power of a heart unbound by convention. In Spain, Margaret of Austria continues to exert subtle influence through the quiet persistence of her personal attachments. Tel Casa of Madrid, with its cool corridors and sunlit courtyards, bears witness to her carefully navigated relationships. Each letter sent, each discreet meeting, is a thread in the fabric of European diplomacy. Margaret's story reminds us that queens' private lives often shape public history, that love and strategy are inseparable, and that even in silence, a queen's heart can wield extraordinary power. Henrietta Maria of France experiences the turbulence of the English Civil War with courage tempered by personal affection. Her private alliances and clandestine relationships provide solace and guidance amid political chaos. You can almost hear the soft shuffle of servants' footsteps, the quiet murmur of her confidants, and the delicate flicker of candlelight illuminating her letters. Each choice she makes is a negotiation between duty, survival, and the private stirrings of her heart. Her story underscores a truth repeated across centuries. A queen's love is never merely personal, it shapes kingdoms. Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard, and the other queens whose lives ended in tragedy leave haunting echoes across Europe. Their forbidden passions, brief yet incandescent, illuminate the fragile boundary between desire and destruction. Imagine the halls of the Tower of London, silent now, but once echoing with whispered secrets, laughter, and cries. Each queen's fate reflects the perilous balance of love and power, a reminder that the stakes for those who wear crowns are unparalleled, and that history often preserves scandal more vividly than intimacy. As you listen and imagine these grand halls, the flickering candlelight, the scent of perfumed gowns, and the quiet tension behind every door, the true human story emerges. Queens, like all of us, experience longing, joy, fear, and heartbreak. Yet for them, these emotions are amplified by the weight of nations and dynasties. Each glance, each letter, each secret meeting becomes part of a larger tapestry of history, a record of desire, courage, and consequence that shaped Europe across centuries. And now, as you slowly drift into the quiet of night, the whispers of these queens linger around you. Their forbidden love affairs, their courage, and their tragic fates remind us that even those who rule empires are bound by the same human heart that beats in us all. Every crown carries a secret, every palace hides a story, and every queen who dared to love beyond the rules leaves a legacy of passion, intrigue, and resilience. So, as you close your eyes, imagine the soft flicker of candlelight, the rustle of silk gowns, and the secret hearts beating behind jeweled crowns. The forbidden love affairs of Europe's queens are not mere stories of scandal. They are enduring chronicles of humanity, courage, and the timeless struggle between desire and duty. In their whispered tales, history speaks not only of power and politics, but of love that dared to defy the very crowns meant to contain it.